Mindy Kim and the Yummy Seaweed Business. Chapter 9. Dad was working late today, so Eunice Uni came over to our house to stay with me. The house was big and scary without Dad, but Eunice Uni brought Oliver the Maltese with her, so it was okay. I played fetch with Oliver while Eunice Uni finished her homework. Oliver was so fluffy that whenever he ran, he looked like a bouncing cloud. He was so cute. Seeing Oliver run around our house made me want a dog even more. Playing with him made me so happy. Hey, Mindy, said Eunice Uni, I'm done with my homework. You want to walk Oliver around the block with me? Sure. Eunice Uni let me hold Oliver's leash as we walked around my neighborhood. Compared to my old neighborhood, everything was so green. There were palm trees and bushes everywhere, like in a jungle. My neighbors had already had all had really big yards with tall grass. Back in California, it didn't rain much, so everything was brown. Florida seemed like a whole different planet. Oliver got really muddy from wandering outside. Eunice Uni said it was okay, since we could just watch him and wash him in the bathtub. He needed a bath anyway, she said with a smile. Dad didn't get home until really late. By the time the garage door opened, Eunice Uni and I had already finished bathing Oliver and eaten dinner. When he got home, Dad was so tired that he fell asleep on the couch. I nudged him softly on the shoulder. Appa, I said, shouldn't you sleep in your bed? Dad startled awake, but then relaxed when he saw me. Oh, hi, Mindy, he said, rubbing his eyes. Yeah, I really should. What time is it? It's 10. Can you tuck me into bed? Oh, wow. And I haven't eaten dinner yet. You didn't eat dinner at work? No, I didn't have time. It's fine. I'll grab something later. Come on, sweetie, let's go. Dad tucked me in, but I couldn't sleep because I was too worried. Dad was so tired and he forgot to eat dinner. What if he got sick? Like mom? I decided to take matters into my own hands. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I've heard Dad say it before. I think it means doing things yourself. So after Dad finished eating and went into his room, I got out of bed and tiptoed to the kitchen. Now, I'm not allowed to touch the stove yet, but Dad says that I could use the electric kettle to boil water since all you have to do is press the switch. I put water in the kettle and turned it on. As the water started to boil, I got on my step stool so I could reach the tea. Dad bought a cute pink step stool with white hearts just for me. With the stool, I could reach for the chamomile tea bag with no problem. Dad likes to drink chamomile tea because he says that it helps him relax. I couldn't wait to surprise him with the tea. I carefully carried the mug of tea to Dad's room. I was about to open the bedroom door when I heard sniffling noises. Dad was crying. Appa? With one hand still clutching the mug, I flung open the door. Mindy! Dad bolted up from the bed like I had caught him doing something wrong. He looked really embarrassed, but he was also definitely crying. Ever since Mom died, Dad cries all the time. I made you some tea so you could feel better. I held out the cup of tea. Dad smiled, but he still looked sad. Thank you, Mindy. That's really sweet of you. Now, please go back to bed. It's way past your bedtime. Okay. Good night, Dad. Good night. He took a sip of the tea and waved. I went back to my room, but even when I was in my bed, I kept thinking about how sad Dad looked. And then I thought about how I always felt better when I played with Oliver. I wanted to cheer up Dad, but I couldn't do it alone. Maybe Sally was right. Maybe I could sell my seaweed snacks for money, and then I could buy a puppy for Dad and me. Since it's impossible to be sad with a cute puppy around, Dad wouldn't be so sad and lonely. And then I could have the dog that I always wanted. It'd be like hitting two birds with one stone. I snuck downstairs. I got Dad's tablet and brought it back to my room. Puppies are expensive if you buy them from breeders, but not if you adopt them from a shelter. On the internet, I found a nearby shelter and scrolled through the available dogs. They were all so cute that I couldn't choose, but they also looked so sad, kind of like Dad. Don't worry, I thought while scrolling through the dog pictures. I'll adopt one of you guys soon, and then you and Dad can both be happy. After a while, I started getting sleepy. I set Dad's tablet down next to me on the bed and fell asleep, dreaming of cute puppies and Dad's smiling face. Chapter 10. On Friday, Dad didn't say anything when I packed dozens of seaweed snacks into my bag. He didn't say anything at all. I think he was too tired and sad. Don't worry, Dad, I thought, I'll get us a puppy real soon. During quiet reading time, I went to the back of the classroom. Mrs. Potts looked up from where she was grading worksheets. Mindy, she said with a frown, is everything all right? Yep. I gave her a big smile. I finished my book, so I wanted to get markers and paper so I could draw, if that's okay. Well, all right. She went back to her work, and I got out my box of markers and a piece of paper from my desk. I'm going to do it, I whispered to Sally. Operation Yummy Seaweed Business is a go. Sally whispered back, That's great. What are the markers and the paper for? You'll see. On the paper, I wrote in big letters, seaweed snacks for sale, only $1 each. I put a smiley face on the bottom of the paper as a finishing touch. Nice, Sally said. I'll get people's attention. It'll get people's attention for sure. When it was lunchtime, I opened my lunchbox to show everyone my seaweed snacks. Besides me, Sally held up the sign I made. Beside me, Sally held up the sign I made. Attention, I said to the table. From now on, you can get a seaweed snack for only $1 each. This is a good deal. Candy from the cafeteria costs at least $2. Everyone seemed to think that $1 was a good price. At least no one complained, like they had said before. The day before, like they had the day before, everyone lined up for a seaweed snack. I didn't have anywhere to put the dollar bill, so I ended up putting all of them into my lunchbox. And Sally was right. Business was booming. Lunch was almost over when Brandon came over to my table. He grinned at me, but not in a nice way. You know, it's against the rules to sell things at school, right? I looked at Sally with wide eyes. She stared back at me. I don't think she knew that rule either. You're making it up, Sally said, crossing her arms in front of her chest. Brandon stuck his nose in the air. No, I'm not. And I'm telling on you two. He glanced around from left to right. I didn't have to be a mind reader to know that he was looking for a teacher. Brandon broke into a run. Stop him! I yelled at Sally. Sally chased after Brandon. I wanted to chase Brandon right away too, but I had to make sure the money was safely in my lunchbox. We ran as fast as we could across the cafeteria, but it was too late. Before Sally or I could catch him, Brandon ran to Mrs. Potts, who was on the lunch duty today. Brandon took a big breath. No, Sally and I both screamed. Mrs. Potts looked at both of us confused. Is everything all right, girls? Brandon yells, Mrs. Potts, Mindy is selling her seaweed snacks, and that's against the rules. Everyone sitting at the tables around us froze. Sally looked pretty scared too. Mrs. Potts looked more confused than angry. Selling her seaweed snacks? What do you mean, Brandon? Mindy is selling her weird seaweed snacks for money, whined Brandon. She has dollar bills crammed in her lunchbox. Mrs. Potts turned to look at me. Is this true, Mindy? I stared down at my feet. My lips started trembling. All I wanted to do was make Dad happy. I didn't know selling my snacks would get me in trouble. Mindy, Mrs. Potts tried again. Can you please look up at me? I did. Mrs. Potts was frowning at me like she had on the first day of school when she couldn't say my Korean name. Everyone else was staring at me too, even Sally. And suddenly I was really mad. Why was I the only one getting in trouble when asking for money wasn't even my idea in the first place? I pointed at Sally. It was her idea, I blurted. I was trading snacks when Sally told me that I should ask for money. I didn't even know it was against the rules. No one told me. I just moved here. It worked. Mrs. Potts looked at Sally, surprised. Sally, is this true? Sally's mouth dropped open. Her eyes got really shiny all of a sudden, like she was about to cry. And then I felt really bad. I never told you that you should, Sally yelled. Oh, dear. At me. I only suggested it. You didn't have to ask for money. You two are both bad, Brandon interrupted. You need to get kicked out of school. What are you even talking about? Sally yelled at him. Shut up. Yeah, Brandon, be quiet. Why would we get kicked out of school? Everyone, please, Mrs. Potts yelled, just stopping all of us. By then, a big crowd had formed around us to see all the action. Take deep breaths to calm down. Brandon, no one is getting kicked out of school, and you are in trouble for running around the cafeteria and causing a commotion. I cheered on the inside. All three of you walk down to the principal's office right now. I will have to call your parents. What? Sally yelled. Thanks a lot, Mindy. Well, why are you blaming me for your idea? Miss Johnson, Miss Kim, please. I'm sorry, I'm saying this in the wrong voice. Miss Johnson, Miss Kim, please go to the principal's office at once. Oh boy, Mrs. Potts used the last name card. I was really in trouble now. I sighed and walked out of the cafeteria with Sally and Brandon. We kind of knew something was not going to go the way we thought it was going to go yesterday. So I don't know. This would be a really good time to make some predictions based on the text and based on what you know about the characters and based on what you know about how stories go. What do you think is going to happen? Not based on, oh, well, last time I got in trouble and I went to the principal's office. That's not what I mean. I really mean more like, what do you think is going to happen based on what you know about how books go and about what you know about the characters and the storyline so far? Okay. To be continued.